Everyone, I Professor Mahavir Chogla. I welcome you all for this today's lecture. In the previous class, we all have studied the frequency domain sampling and its reconstruction. And in that, we understood how to convert the time domain signal into frequency domain by using Fourier transform tool, and then using sampling, how to get the sequence of frequency samples from the frequency domain signal x of omega by appropriate sampling of continuous frequency into the discrete frequency values. And after that, we also studied how to reconstruct original signal x of n from the sequence of frequency sample values. And in the today's class, I am going to discuss with you about the discrete Fourier transform and its inverse discrete Fourier transform. So, let me start with the discrete Fourier transform, and then we'll discuss its inverse discrete transform. And in the previous semester, in the subject called signals and system, we studied a little bit about the various transformation techniques such as the Z transform, Laplace transform, and Fourier transform, as well as a Fourier series. The relation between the Z transform and the discrete Fourier transform can be obtained as, if you know the Z transform of a signal x of n, and its Fourier transform is given by x of z, by evaluating z is equal to a complex quantity e raised to j omega in the Z transform, you will get x of e raised to j omega, and this x of e raised to j omega can be written simply as x of omega, and this x of omega is known as the Fourier transform of the signal x of n. Then the mathematical definition for a Z transform is given by x of z is equal to, which is a Z transform of x of n, that is summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into z raised to minus n. This mathematical equation you all know, right? So then how to get a discrete Fourier transform by knowing the Z transform definition. So the DFT of the sequence x of n is given by x of e raised to j omega, which can be obtained by evaluating x of z at z is equal to e raised to minus j omega. Therefore, the Z transform equation can be modified as x of e raised to j omega. So wherever z is there in the equation number 1, that z you have to replace it by what? E raised to j omega, and that e raised to j omega is a complex quantity. So x of e raised to j omega, then summation I will write as it is, that is n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Next, the input sequence x of n is as it is. Next, this z I will replace it by what? E raised to minus j omega, and then it is multiplied by what? The discrete variable n, right? So let me consider this one as equation number 2, right? And now this x of e raised to j omega I will simply write as x of omega, where omega is a continuous frequency. Please remember, omega is a continuous frequency, and RHS of this equation is like this: n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j omega n. So this one I will consider as equation number 3. And we cannot call this equation number 3 as the discrete Fourier transform of sequence x of n because the frequency is still continuous. Then how to get the discrete frequency values for the sequence x of omega, right? So as we discussed in the previous class, in order to get the discrete frequency samples, we have to go for the sampling, the appropriate sampling over the continuous frequency omega. So now let us sample this continuous frequency into discrete set of frequency by w is equal to wk, right? Where wk is nothing but what? 2 pi divided by n into k. Mean there are total n number of equally spaced frequency values within the range 0 to 2 pi. How many number of frequency samples are there? So there are n equally spaced frequency values between 0 to 2 pi, right? So now after sampling at discrete values w is equal to wk, so I can write x of, now this w becomes wk, and this wk is nothing but 2 pi divided by n multiplied by k, which is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j. So this omega becomes omega k, and that omega k can be written as 2 pi divided by n k, which is multiplied by what? N, right? So next further, this x of 2 pi divided by n into k can be simply written as x of k, where k is the discrete frequency values which varies from n0 to capital N minus 1. So therefore x of 2 pi by n k is nothing but x of k is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n k into n. So this is the mathematical equation for the discrete time Fourier transform. So I will write it once again here. So the mathematical equation for the discrete Fourier transform will be like this, that is x of k. Please remember this x should be capital X, right? X should be capital 1. So x of k is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi n multiplied by k into n. So this is the mathematical definition. This is the mathematical definition for the discrete Fourier transform, that is DFT, which is very important. Later we will be using this equation to find out the DFT of the sequence x of n, right? So now in this DFT equation there is a complex quantity e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n. So when we are studying the discrete Fourier transform, so we have to consider this e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n as a complex quantity which is denoted by what? Wn, right? This Wn is a complex quantity given by e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n, and this complex quantity is also known as the Twiddle factor. What is this called as? Twiddle factor. Twiddle factor, right? So using this complex quantity notation, the above equation can be written as x of k is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n. This complex quantity I will replace it by what? Which is symbolically denoted by what? Wn, and here it is power is k into n. So this is another mathematical representation for discrete Fourier transform, that is DFT, right? And the important property of this Twiddle factor is it is a periodic over the period capital N. So now let us understand what is the periodic property of this Twiddle factor, right? So what is the periodicity of this Twiddle factor? How I can say it is a periodic over period n? So Wn is a Twiddle factor. Let me consider alpha plus n, right? This can be written as Wn raised to alpha, right? So if this condition is holds good, then I can say Wn, this complex quantity, obeys the periodicity property, right? So here let us prove how it obeys the periodicity. Okay, right? We know that the complex quantity Twiddle factor is given by Wn is equal to e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by capital N, right? So now let me write the LHS part, that is Wn raised to alpha plus n, which is equal to e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n whole raised to alpha plus n, right? This can be written as e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n into alpha plus n. Yes or no? Okay. So e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n, I will open the bracket and multiply each term alpha and e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n into n, right? So if you see the second exponential quantity where capital N and capital N get cancelled, and this e raised to minus j 2 pi can be written as cos 2 pi minus j sin 2 pi, and what you will get? You will get the value equal to 1. Understood? Therefore it is e raised to minus j 2 pi divided by n into alpha, right? And this is given by Wn raised to, so this is nothing but what? Wn, and here it is alpha. And what is the LHS which I have started from? Wn raised to alpha plus n. Therefore the complex quantity, that is Twiddle factor, is a periodic with period capital N. So this is the important property of the Twiddle factor W, right? So next we'll move on to the inverse discrete Fourier transform called as inverse IDFT. In short, it is called as inverse DTFT, right? So if I know the discrete Fourier sequence x of k, then it is possible to recover my original sequence x of n uniquely from the known frequency, discrete frequency values x of k, right? X of k, through the process known as what? Inverse DFT. So what is inverse DFT? The inverse DFT is a tool similar to the DFT which is used to recover the sequence x of n uniquely from the frequency samples available in the x of k. So this is known as inverse DFT, right? And the mathematical equation for this inverse DFT is given by x of n, which is the original sequence, that is 1 divided by n summation, and here it is summation index is not from n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Instead of n, I am considering here k is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and input is x of k. That is the DFT sequence, which consists of the sequence of the discrete frequency values. And here it is e raised to, instead of considering minus j, becomes now what? Plus j omega, that is 2 pi divided by n k into n, right? Therefore it is 1 divided by n summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of k into, we know that e raised to j 2 pi divided by n is considered as a complex quantity by wn raised to wn, e raised to minus j, but here we have is e raised to plus j, so this becomes what? wn raised to minus k into n. So this is the mathematical definition to find the inverse DFT of any frequency domain sequence, that is x of k. Understood? So since this sequence w of n similar to the x of n and x of k, this wn is also let me write in the new slide. Similar to the sequence x of n and x of k, this complex quantity wn is also a sequence which consists of the complex values, and these complex values can be located over a unit circle having radius equal to 1, right? So if I say the input sequence x of n is equal to say 1, 2, 3, 4, so this is my input discrete sequence, right? And for this, the number of samples in this sequence is how much? N is equal to 4, right? So therefore you will get how many number of values you will get in the complex sequence wn? You will get w4 is equal to how many? You will get w4 raised to 0, w4 raised to 1, w4 raised to 2, w4 raised to 3, that is 0 to n minus 1. N minus 1 means it is 3, 0 to 3. So then how these values are located over unit radius circle, that is over z plane. So this is my z plane, and here I am taking a circle which is having unit radius, right, 1, and over this, so this is my imaginary z and this is my real, right? So here I am going to using circle points. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, right? So if I want to locate 8 points, then again you need to draw the circle, and over this you have to locate all 8 points. So I will start with here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here 7, and here 8. So this is n is equal to 8, and here we have even number of values in the sequence wn, right? If there are odd number of values, that is n is equal to 7, then how to locate? So this is my circle. So here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this